I'm here. Spiritual warfare is heavy. It's not schizophrenia. Once you raise your awareness and you have a little bit of bravery and you take a period of isolation, you'll realize how much work this actually takes. But I'm still sick. It's now freezing. The hibernating animals did not come through today or last night. So I'm going to be cleaning, and I think that everyone that watches this, if you live in a dirty mess, if I can do it, what does that make you? So the main goal today is to get all the things thanks to one subscriber, Heather, thank you. I have money for laundry. So I have a bunch of moldy blankets, and I wasn't able to sleep because of how cold it was. Because when I would try to sleep with this moldy stuff, I would wake up throwing up, couldn't breathe, headache for days, and it felt like the mold had gotten through my lungs and it was in my brain. It really felt like I had a moldy brain for a while when I was sleeping in this moldy garbage. Also, yesterday, because I know it's a simulation, yesterday the bus was 15 minutes late, which never happens. So I knew something was up. So I looked up and a crow hung out with me. It didn't scream at me. It wasn't territorial. And it just sat with me for 10 minutes. Then a stranger arrived, because I know that if you remember the past 3 years, at around this time every year is when I'm brought from one place to the next. It happens at the end of Leo season. It happens in the midsummer. And it happens around the start of Scorpio, where the stranger approaches, and he approaches on my right side, and I've never met that person, but he gives me the information and takes me to the next stage. This time I got a guy, and one of the big things, if you pay attention to the patterns that keep happening, so if you see something and they say the same message over and over again, you know that that's the simulation. If you're real, you know that that's a greater intelligence sending messages to me. So what we got, what was this year, but my brother died, and I said goodbye to everyone from my past. That was Casey O'Brien's 9-year. The only person I really was upset about was one of my exes, because I thought that she was my soulmate, but there was just something wrong. You could say Gemini, the dark part of her, the dark part of the twins. But the message that keeps coming through was that the past few weeks, actually the past 3 months, because it's been in my head, I've been ruminating. Over and over again, strangers, all they want to talk to me about is how miserable they are, because they settled for the wrong one. Everybody was telling me this year, And they never talked about it before. They just kept telling me this year, pretty much once a week I'd meet somebody that they were in a long relationship with the wrong one, and they stayed with the wrong one. And then 15 years went by, and I met tons of really hard-working people that were now homeless because their wife, after she cheated and left him and took the kids, for no fault of that guy's own, it was TikTok, you know. Now they're out, and there's like a handful of just going around Vermont now, don't know what to do. So I met someone yesterday who had just ended like a long time relationship, and that guy was just wandering around homeless. So I'm here. At least I have this. And that guy's probably slept on the ground last night. So part of what I'm going to use to donate, I got a small donation, but it's enough for like I think 1.5 loads of laundry. I can at least do 1 load of laundry. I don't know how long. With the dryer here, you just put 1/4 in and then keep going with 1/4 to see how long it takes before it's dried. So I think I have 1 load of laundry, and I'm going to use it on my moldy blankets and my bedding, so that I know when I set the tent up. Eventually I'll get Dawn dish soap, and I got a sponge from the community action program, so I can scrub the black mold off of my tents. Then I can take my 3 tents and I can stack one inside the other, and then I can put blankets around the top. In between this tent and that tent, I can stuff these thermal blankets in to keep my nest. Then I can sleep in my nest, and hopefully I'm going to set something I can breathe, put some breathing room in. So that's what I'm going to do today, is just getting all my laundry syndicated, moving the blankets between the two, and then as I find trash, I'm going to chuck the trash just out the window, because there's already a mountain of trash. But if it's already syndicated, when the cleanup crew comes, it'll be easier for them. And then hopefully I'll have a sleeping bag for this other person. I have 30 packs of Seneca cigarettes from like the 80s. I've cut back on the vape, so my body's churning, throwing the shit up. Yeah, everyone likes to talk about themselves. Or to judge. It's so weird. One day I'll have a community where we're all just sharing opportunities towards a common goal. But from what I've seen, the way God works, He prefers simplicity. He doesn't want to disturb who you are. He wants to help who you are. So He likes to meet you where you're at. And He has things for you which can't be taken, can't be stopped. But that doesn't mean you can't make decisions So part of that means there's this window where people are only allowed a specific level of information and knowledge and wisdom. And it's very carefully and calculated how that information comes through all of our different bodies. The collective consciousness is in a state in the infinite. That's what the black cube means, the black box, black rock. It's the walling off of humanity. It's their own thing inside the infinite, inside God. And their thing is they just want to get as many things into it as possible. And then their will is now imposed, and they are the God. Because we, hopefully, for them, they're hoping that at some point, and we're probably already there, we've forgotten what the true God really is. I don't think the true God works through shit talkers on the internet. Unless it's like when you're hanging, when you're boxing, and you hang and you let people punch you in the gut so that you can get stronger for the boxing match. It was really cool. I had a dream that my native ancestors were going to give me a present this spring. And then I decided to go into town, which is at the bottom of this mountain. And the bus was running late. I decided I wanted to exercise, so I decided to walk to my destination instead of the bus. And then sitting outside, so I used to sit, when I first got to this town, I used to sit and just stare at everybody because they wouldn't hire me. They wouldn't let me in the businesses. Everybody treated me like shit. Where I sat when I first got here, there was a box. So when I walked by, my subconscious was already geared towards reminiscing. And in it was this dream catcher. And the cool thing about the dream catcher, even though it looks like it was made by a kid, the thing that makes a real dream catcher, other than it has to be blessed by a native, is there's a specific intentional metaphysical science and engineering structure to how these trinkets and items are actually blessed using spirit. It's the same way as if you want something on a video game, like you're trying to mod a game, you have to go through and you have to do it a specific way to make sure it works. Or like a game developer trying to add a new mechanic. You're working in spirit. So the evidence that this is worked from in spirit is the shape of it and the different color threads. But the problem is you can't legally own feathers for that reason. And only that reason. So it doesn't have the real feathers. But that was when I was having night terrors every night. For like a week straight. Every time I would try to go to sleep, I would be woken up to the first night. It was this red owl. And it was tall. It was a really tall owl and it was angry. And every time I hit a certain level of consciousness, a certain mind state, brain waves, and I would start to imagine and grow, I'd fall asleep. And then I'd start to dream. And then I'd immediately be woken up and this giant owl was there. And it was angry at me. And it was staring at me right in the eyes in spirit. And then the next night I woke up and there was this like attachment on the side of my head. It was this big emotional energy portal of something deep. This deep energy on the side of my consciousness. So I looked in spirit, so when you close your eyes, you can still look around. I looked at it, and then it opened my third eye wide, boom, all of a sudden, and then through this fractal thing, a tall gray swam. Not like swimming, but like it floated up and pressed against the side here. And I could see its intricate robes, I could see its elongated head, I could see its emotionlessness. I've seen them in dreams for decades, but this is the first time I really had a obvious one where it's right there. And I saw that it was just like authoritative, it was on a mission. And then from under him, a little gray flew out in spirit, but then I saw it right in front of me. And it was a little version of itself, and it was floating in front of my phone. It was telling me that when I'm on my phone, it's helping me. It's helping me talk to people on Facebook. When I'm on my phone and I'm thinking, it's there. And then all of a sudden they both left, like they jumped out of the way. And then I saw what looked to be a giant T-Rex head that wouldn't come close to me. It was just really angry, and it seemed like it was full of hatred. And that looked at me and hit me, and I felt it. And then they warped away. And then I saw this big stream of golden light, whitish golden light coming from the woods. So I tuned my mind to that. And then immediately there was this girl, but she had pointy ears and she had greenish skin that looked like tree bark. And she was like kind of mischievous, and it was just fun for her. She was like having fun messing with me. So she did something that was like, whoa, what the fuck? And then she disappeared. And then in the middle of the night, I don't know the right bird. It's not a blue jay, it's not a robin. I don't know what bird it is, but at like 3 in the morning, one of them came, and it did the noises to push the energy away, to separate all that and reharmonize with nature. And then to have those experiences stop. It stopped as soon as I found this, and I hung it up in my tent. And they didn't come back until after the bike accident, when I couldn't be up here because it was too straining on the fractures to get up and do things here. So I moved into a field at the bottom of the mountain. That's when those things started coming back every night. Something came here, I think 2 nights ago, and I was like, I don't want to say anything because I know I'll sound crazy, but then the exact thing I saw yesterday on the live stream some woman showed up and started talking about the crazy shit she sees in the woods. And she said her son sees exactly what I see. That, well, the only thing that he sees is the one thing that I saw last night, or 2 nights ago. And one of my old friends made his album cover 3 years ago. The same thing that I just saw. It was offering me spiritual power and a different energy. But I could see, I had discernment. What it was really looking for was a connection to me and a way to operate in the physical world. It also wanted something that I had in my spirit. I've also seen something that I consider a god. Or like an ancient druid. It was a humanoid, but it was old. It wasn't this deep darkness. It was light, but it wasn't golden heavenly light. It was the same light as you'd see like a human. But he had these extremely long fingers. And I only saw him because of the finger first. He reached his finger through spirit at me deep at night. No diddy. And he started scratching my pineal gland. And he wanted me to invite him in. I said, you can't come into my mind or my body, but what are you? And then he stepped into the room. And it just seemed like an old man with really long fingers. And he was really kind of amused, wise but arrogant, like you'd imagine like an archetype for an old Irishman. And he just showed me how to do things. He showed me these cool little tips and tricks for living in spirit. Sort of like how that guy was visited by 3 ghosts. The birds left when I went live. But there's a family of squirrels that have moved in. All the birds are back from whatever they were doing. Anybody want any peanut butter? I got a shit ton of peanut butter. You hear that crow? It's crazy how they think I care. They think they're so important. They said I'm a master and to have pity on them. I don't know what to do. Right now I'm uncovering deeply rooted stuff from my childhood that blocked my ability to think. And when I start breaking free from the grasp of those people that did that, they try to get at me again. Which means to me is proof that it was parasitic. I saw some sick shit. A lot more people live life in spirit, but in a way where they want to control and do things like that to people. A lot more than people realize. And usually they have constant encouragement. They know that they're trapped, and they know that they could never find this true freedom. But in the demonic box they're in, they have this complex energy always giving them just a little bit of motivation the whole time, and then pointing them where to go. So I don't attribute it always to them, but I've seen like these people. They both own it was a gay couple that owns a small business. But the way they talked about how excited they were that this young couple let them in, they went to their house and they wanted to get in, and they went right to the kid's room, and they were talking about holding him. But the way they talked about holding him, and the way they talked about like moving the kid away from the parents, you could see it was about influence. It was about transference. Obsession for a youth and innocence and light that they have lost, coveting it in something else. What's up, man? I appreciate. I got phone service information. Thank you, man. I'm gonna have to turn it sideways because it's gonna die. It's plugged into the charger. I was just talking shit to farm ugly white people that came in and spewed hate comments. And I'm just cleaning. And that couple, every single time somebody came into that business that was beaming full of that youthful, innocent energy I was talking about, even if it was an adult, they would stop what they were doing, they'd look at each other, and they'd start just standing around the guy, or the girl, or the kid. And I'd see them just standing there, and they'd start pretending to do things, like checking the milk on the coffee. Is the milk stuck or anything? But they're just trying to get as close to that energy as they could. And I remember, because when you're in survival like that and I was trapped, I would do things like think, like really put everything together to focus, and I'd start imagining a better tomorrow. Think about what I want my life to be like, where I see myself. And then immediately, they'd slam the shit, they'd stomp on the ground, they'd slam a door. Bird. Sorry. Sorry, bird. Because they lived an ego, status, reputation, constantly judging others in their place. That's how I see the haters in my comment section, like that gay couple. That something's convinced them they're smart. And they're not ready to let go. We need to be able to let go and let it all dissolve. And live in flow. That way you can rise. And that's when you can start to connect to your higher power, your higher self. And that's the only way to really achieve clarity. Is to be able to learn how to let go. And it's not, you'll have relationships, you'll have people that will start to get angry because they lived in that dark connection to you. They'll try, you see it. The world tries to do it to me. Or they come in waves. But maintaining that freedom is the only way to live. If you're not, it's not you. And the more you can rise, is let go of everything. I'm trying to let go of my stuff here. I just don't have the way to get my needs met yet. You'll see that eventually your whole reality shifts. And the relationship you have, even if it's with the same person. As long as you don't abandon yourself and you stay humble. You're actually opening the door for a real relationship. Think about when in the Bionicle movie, the first one, all those kids, the Toa Matan, I think, the little Toas, the little kids, were in those boxes, and they were being factory, and then they would astral project the light into the boxes to wake the kids up, and that's how they saved all the kids. To be able to open that box, you have to let go. people like Nick Fuentes and all the people that are like in the pseudo-spiritual community, no matter what, they're still trying to keep you in that box. If you notice, Candace Owens is finally starting to reach out of the box. She's finally starting to realize maybe I'm in one. So her videos are getting more authentic. She's not pretending anymore. She's not constantly trying to assert her fake and appeal to this fake society. So you'll find the most unhealthy people. By unhealthy, I mean the people that have the least connection to the outside world, the outdoors. The people that have the least connection to nature will be riding in to try to get at it the same way that gay couple went at that kid, that newborn baby. People will flock because she's braver than they are. Old molded pizza in my Tupperware. I haven't read the Bible, but can anyone vouch for me that one of the main things Jesus taught is that the only way to know your true self is through complete selflessness? Because that's where I'm getting. That's the conclusion I've been drawing. Then you have to act in service, but you can't do it before you find yourself, or else your acts of service. Usually, it's like people that I find at shelters that, because they deal, even though they're no different than the people that they're helping, because they find a sense of stability and power. And people that come in feel powerless. They become addicted to those power dynamics, where their whole life suddenly becomes walking around full of pride. And they think that they're doing something good for others, but they've completely resorted to living in that rape. So you'll see those people tend to start sexually abusing homeless people. They'll be terrified and always like using it as an excuse that they're worried about violence against them. But in reality, the thing that got into them is instigating the violence and keeping them from a self-awareness so they can't realize that they're hurting the people they're supposed to help. And then when those people, you poke the bear too many times and it lashes out, then they persecute the bear who was just trying to find a safe place to hang out. And that's why I boarded up this, so that if the bear comes back, I at least wanted to know that the food here, there's nothing here for it. Like if it keeps coming back, it thinks that there's something here for it. I'm gonna let it have the night to check everything out. Because I don't want it to live in yearning as it's hibernating, thinking, oh, maybe I could have done something different. That's a lot of spider babies. Okay. I get it. It's like jerking off. Good morning. There's no hate comment. I got hit with this darkness and I felt the rush and I saw the state of mind that the people are in. They live in this little ball trapped and they condense as much hatred and negativity as they can. And when they feel brave enough or they have an in, they try to reach the darkness in. And it's a sexual thing. The hate comments are a sexual thing. It's sexual energy. Where it comes from. Yeah. Coincidentally, in 2019, my girlfriend used to have this Aloha Fucker shirt. And I don't think it was an ex-boyfriend's or anything. I think she had it because she had pictures of it when she was young, like really young. But it was a men's shirt that fit me. So one day I started wearing it. And I went around town with a shirt that said Aloha Fuckers. And some guy came up to me and said, "You know, you're promoting rape culture with that." And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Get some bitches." And now I'm kind of seeing where he's at. Or that was a bit extreme. A little prejudiced. I'm not afraid of you. You can't scare me. I'm not afraid of you, bear. Eat my bread. I'm not afraid. Okay. I had the flu last week. I had the flu, fam. And it takes a while to heal when you don't have medicine for it. Back at the barnyard, South Bend, Indiana. What's it like out there, fam? Is it safe? Is it safe out there? Because they try to kill me a lot here. In my eyes, laying on the beach, do I remind you of your daddy? Labrador hanging out the passenger door. Remember that deep down basement couch? I'm singing my love songs and you tell me well. How your mama ran off in the pondering rain. rotated old hotels straight out of the horn would be a man. Do you think, are you, I'm really interested in finding out if the homeless community can remember when they did the drugs. I'm looking for homeless people that would be considered drug addicts to speak on whether honestly they felt like at some point in that drug usage a demonic entity through that disharmony that the drug created, if sort of these entities latched on, and then I wanted to know after they latched on how that felt, and if they saw the community get more helpful, or did they attack you more? And could you speak on if the more you seem to want to better your life, the more that people in that network, whether it's just your community or wherever you're at, whoever, managers of motels, other people in homelessness, your family members, anybody, even just like gas station employees, when you're striving to better your life, does it seem like there's a legitimate pushback, like they're trying to keep you stuck in that addiction? But when you're giving into the addiction, does it seem like the world is encouraging you? That's a big question I have. I've been drugged before. Let me read your comment.
Leader Scott. You're good, I get it. I feel you. Kemi.
What is it?